Hi, this is Chris, Logos Apologia. I'm making a video reply to Adam, I believe. Hey Adam, what's up, man? I'm glad you decided to reply. I like coffee too. Adam, I'm glad you decided to respond. Um, I'm a little taken back, but not shocked. Um, what you've done in your reply is what a lot of people do. I used to do it. Um, and that's just kind of dismiss the Bible right out of hand. And I think you're making one mistake right off the bat. You're a little bit misinformed about. I said it. I'm not basing this on the inerrancy of the Bible, and I'm not. Um, there's a doctrine of inerrancy and inspiration. That basically that we believe that this is the Word of God, and the argument is not based on that at all. You seem to equate that with it being accurate and true, and those aren't really the same thing at all. I mean, really, all that is you have to accept in this argument is that the Bible is a book of ancient literature, just like any other book of ancient literature. And historians and scholars look at other books of ancient literature and they go through them. They don't believe everything that's in there about Julius Caesar or about an Egyptian pharaoh, but they use historical techniques to pull out what they think is history. And these 5 facts are what like 90% of scholars who study the subject pull out and accept as history. These are very well attested to and widely accepted facts, not just by Christians. And that's the basis of the minimal facts argument. That's why it's called that. And what you're doing, it's a common mistake, but it's a mistake. And it's actually a logical fallacy. And it's listed as one. You can look it up. It's called the genetic fallacy. And, the first criterion of any good argument is that the premises have a bearing on the truth or falsity of the truth of the claim in question, okay? Just because the Bible is a religious book has no bearing on whether its claims are true. You just say inadmissible, and you don't deal with any of the evidence, and you say it's not evidence. That's inadmissible. That's fallacious reasoning. You're just wrong. The Bible is not it's not just one source either. You can't just say the Bible, poof, it's all gone. It's 40 different authors, 66 books, written over like 1800 years. They're all separate sources. And, you can't just say, oh, it's the Bible. That doesn't work. That's fallacious reasoning. It's incoherent. So the thing is, I'm not really basing this argument on the infallibility or the inerrancy or inspiration, but I mean, you don't even accept that the Bible contains history, which is pretty fringe and pretty out there. The Bible's been verified time and time again. I'm not talking about supernatural claims. I'm talking about as historical, as accurate and true, and in the regular mundane matters. There used to be skeptics that claimed Pontius Pilate was a fictitious character. Then they found a big stone monument bearing his name. And this has happened over and over again. Most of what we know about ancient history in the Syria-Palestine area is based on the Bible, and it's been confirmed over and over again. I would offer up this fella, he's a 19th century archaeologist. His name was Sir William Ramsay. And he was a skeptic. In fact, he was an archaeologist. He set out to expose the book of Acts as a work of fiction. And he went and started digging. And after his investigation, he ended up becoming so impressed by Luke's accuracy that he ended up converting from skeptic to Christian. And I have a quote from one of his books here. And he determined Luke is a historian of the first rank. Not merely are his statements of fact trustworthy, he is possessed of a true historic sense. In short, this author should be placed along with the greatest of historians. And this was a guy who started out skeptical. Now, there's a little video on YouTube I saw by John Ankerberg. I'm going to put one of those little hot links to it where he goes into this a little more depth. It's a little short 2-minute video that I'm linking to on Sir William Ramsey and the accuracy of Luke's gospel and Acts. So you can't just dismiss the Bible out of hand. That's a mistake. It's really a bad mistake. In regard to the other secular historians, you guys make a lot of try to get a lot of mileage out of the fact that it wasn't contemporary with Jesus. I mean, right there within 150 years of his life, there's like 4 or 5 guys that write about it. And guys like Tacitus, a Roman historian, he had access to the records. And when he says that Jesus was crucified under the reign of Pontius Pilate, he knew what he was talking about. He could verify that. He had no reason to make it up. He wasn't a Christian. He wasn't saying anything particularly flattering. He was talking about Christians being killed. So to say that that's not a piece of historical evidence, that's just not coherent either. I mean, Tacitus had no reason to lie. He had access to the records. There's very good evidence there that fact one is true. I think on the next point you said something about my point, the fact that they believed it. Now or do you dispute it's a fact? I mean, you say it's not evidence, but I mean, I didn't say that their belief meant it was true. I said that the disciples' belief is it's a fact that they sincerely believed it. Okay, that's what I said. And that they sincerely believed it is certainly evidence that there was some kind of event that inspired that belief. What that event is what our question we're dealing with is. But just to dismiss it out of hand without accounting for it, it is evidence. The fact that there's a fact that they believed it. Okay, now you say, well, that doesn't mean anything because people believe false things all the time. Yeah, but you got to think about the context is not quite the same. People don't generally die for what they know is not true. Now, the key here is what they know. Like you take a Muslim terrorist and you say, well, he's dying for Islam and you don't believe that's true. No, I don't believe it's true, but he believes it's true. But the thing is, he's not really in first-hand position to know whether or not it's true. But the disciples, they said they saw Jesus. That's first-hand. That's a big difference between somebody that believes something because they've been told it or read it in a book. They based it on their first-hand, on appearance. They believed in Jesus because of the appearance. So, the first-hand nature of their knowledge changes, the paradigm about the fact that they sincerely believed it. And that is something that must be accounted for. Your dismissal of Paul is kind of ridiculous. I mean, there's no historian in the world that would deny that the Apostle Paul was a devout Jew that persecuted Christians and then had a conversion. Now, what the basis for that conversion is, that's where the arguments lie. But just to deny it out of hand because it came from the Bible, that's ridiculous. You're not really... you want to dismiss everything, but you're just burying your head in the sand. And what you're doing is fallacious reasoning. Look up the genetic fallacy. So, I mean, that's really, most of your video is just fallacious genetic fallacy ad hominem against Christianity. There's people, great scholars, and ones that aren't even Christians that study the Bible, archaeologists. There's a PhD, Jürgen Spice. I think I'm going to try to get his speech and load it to my channel from Germany, who argues on the historicity of the resurrection evidence. This guy is, just a stellar scholar. And he's got a talk on the historicity of the evidence. You can't dismiss the Bible out of hand. It's just not an effective argument. But thank you for your video.